Well, today we're here with Miss Catherine Edwards, and we're in Miss Catherine's home here on Grassdale Road. Miss Catherine, let me ask you this. Would you say you're I'm not positive you're the oldest member, but member that's been there the longest that's still around at Friendship Baptist Church?
Well, I'm not actually the oldest because Catherine Bell hadn't been a member like I had, but Catherine, as far as I know, is at Townsend, but
Yeah.
she was 5 months older than me.
Okay.
But I've been friendship since 1949.
1949. So Friendship
July the-
organized in 1947. They opened their doors in March of 1949. So you've been there since.
And my husband and our letters, Royce and my letters were received from Constantine Baptist Church on July the 5th, 1949.
Wow. Well, that's great. So, what is your first memory of Friendship Baptist Church?
First memories was watching Mr. Weaver digging foundation for the church. And then when the church became one rectangular room, and we were living on Iron Belt Road, and I could see the church as it went up. I could see out of my kitchen window, and I thought there's no need in us going all the way a few times back all the way to Kingston to Conisina when there's a church in our backyard.
Well, that's good. And I've often said that church attracts people because of its location. A lot of times, Holy Spirit just draws them in because they're right there and they're going past it. They live close to it. So, tell me about when were you saved?
I was saved in a revival the first week in August 1940.
All right, and do you remember where that revival was at?
It was first week in August. I was in Conisina Baptist Church.
So, were you baptized there at Conisina?
Yes. That same week, I met Royce Edwards, and we were baptized together on a cold creek on a Sunday morning.
Were you baptized in Conisina Creek?
Uh-huh.
That is a very, very cold creek.
It was a cold creek, plenty of springs up and down the creek, and we were baptized together. Because we were both teenagers. It was just 1 week after Royce's 16th birthday.
And how old were you?
And I was 13. I was 14 that October.
So Royce was robbing the cradle.
Not exactly, because we had to grow up.
How old were you when you got married?
Not until I was 21. We grew up back and forth together during those years, and then he went in service. I graduated from high school in May of 43. The day I graduated, or the night I graduated, that day he went in the Army, and he spent over 2 years in Europe in World War II, and he had a horrible, horrible position. He was in grave registration, which meant wherever there was somebody killed along the way, they didn't have a chance to go back to a cemetery. They buried him, marked the grave where it was, and then when the fighting ceased in that area, they went back to and exhumed and carried the bodies to cemetery.
Wow.
So he had that horrible, horrible
Terrible job.
position, and he was only 19 and 20 years old when he had that job in the Army.
So while he was there in Europe, was he writing you letters home and you writing him letters back?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
You look forward to your letters. He looked forward to getting letters from you.
It was our bane of communication. And a funny thing about it, though, we didn't know exactly when he was going to get out and come home. I was waiting for a date one night, and I went to the door, and there he was.
It was a good surprise.
So needless to say, I sent the other guy tracking, and he never came back.
So how long after he got out of the Army did you guys, or got back home, did you guys get married?
Almost 2 years.
2 years. So y'all got married in 47?
In November of 47.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but he had to adjust back to civilian life, and we had to get to know each other better then.
Yeah. And how long were you guys married?
We were married 43 years when he died in 1951.
And how many children did you have?
And Don was born in 55, Ronald was born in 57.
Okay. And I know Don passed away.
Don passed away in 2000.
Yeah. And Ronald
stayed in Friendship Church a number of years, and then after he married, he and Vicky went to another couple of churches a while, and then they went back to Glade at Folsom, which was her home church.
Yeah.
And that's where they are to this day.
And Ronald has announced his calling to be a preacher.
Well, he doesn't know what the Lord's going to call him to do, but if he's able to, next May he will get his bachelor's degree in theology.
Well, I will tell you this, and I think you already know it. I know from people that know Ronald that he's going to be called in to be a preacher, because they know how much he loves the Lord, and how much he loves to speak His word.
Well, today is his bicycle ministry day. Glade, of course, is out in the country, and every Saturday they have bicyclers who come through. So he felt led to start a bicycle ministry. And they just have ice water to give to the guys, the people that stop by. And they give out tracts about the church and about the Lord. And then oftentimes he has prayer with people who have problems or just want a prayer.
What a wonderful ministry for him to have. I know you're very proud of him.
So today is a big day because it's the promotion day for Hickory Log.
Okay.
And he was expecting, and he asked some help, and today they were going to give out some fruit to the, because they expected several thousand to come through there today.
So let me get back to Friendship. So you guys joined Friendship in July of 1949.
Right.
How long were you there before you started teaching?
Probably the next year.
Yeah. And you taught for how long there?
I taught over 40 years. Yeah. I taught for a while, and then I was out for a while, and then I taught when I was assistant teacher in the ladies' Sunday school class, and when that teacher left, I taught that class for 35 years.
I've talked to some young folks, some folks that were young folks that you taught, and Royce also taught, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he also teach the boys?
He taught junior boys.
Yeah. Well, you guys have been a huge influence on a lot of people over the years. I've heard a lot of stories already from folks that talked about y'all's Sunday school classes.
We have one still in the church, Jeff Woody, that was when Royce worked with the RAs in the church and worked with Sunday school. But Jeff is the only one there now that knew Royce way back when.
Yeah. So we've also talked to folks about homecoming at Friendship Baptist Church, and how special homecoming has been over the years. And I've asked people this. Friendship's known for their cooking, and especially it seems they're known for their desserts. And I've asked folks, what was your favorite dessert, either to make or to eat?
Oh, my favorite to eat was Evelyn Jarrett's cakes.
Yeah, Mr. Jarrett made some good cakes. That's for sure. So, also, speaking along the lines of friendships, homecomings, is there any one homecoming that stands out to you over the others, or what was special to you about homecoming at Friendship?
One homecoming, we had a former pastor. A lot of people don't know the history of Friendship Church because we had a pastor and we were really close to him and his family. And he decided, for some unknown reason, that he was going to take a group of people away from the church and organize another church. And he did that. Some of the people went with him, and I told Royce, I said, I cannot. You go with him if you feel led to, if that's what the Lord leads you to do. But I can't. I cannot go because I would feel like I was following a pastor and not following the Lord. So we stayed, and there for a while we weren't very active in Friendship Church. And then we decided, well, it's time for us just to go on back to church. One Sunday morning I went into church and I got such a greeting from a lady there, a neighborly lady that was there in the church, that she greeted me in such a way that I knew she showed me that I was supposed to be there. And that lady was Martha Cornelius' grandmother that greeted me that Sunday morning. And she had such a smile and such a welcome for us that we decided, let bygones be bygones. If there were any hard feelings, there had to be forgiveness, because you can't go without forgiveness.
That's right. That's right. So let me ask you about the Lunch Bunch. Now, was you ever a part of the Lunch Bunch crew?
Oh, yeah.
So, what started the Lunch Bunch? Why did you guys get started?
The started the Lunch Bunch, and I may not remember exactly the two ladies, but one was Cleo Ponder and Mildred Pope, and that may not be the right two, but they started about fixing a little sack lunch and delivering it to some of the industries for lunch. And then it developed from that to the big, once a month, big dinners at the church with, really, the dinners were on Friday, but it took 3 days. The ladies, the ones that purchased the food, got everything ready for it. That took them Thursday, and then when we took, Wednesday, then Thursday we took all the pre-preparations that we could do on a Thursday, and then finishing it up on Friday. So it was actually a 3-day project.
And the lunch on Fridays was not my first visit to Friendship Baptist Church, but it was the first time I think I ever went. Well, I know it was first time I ever went to Friendship Baptist and had a meal, and it was wonderful. Now, Paul Battles, one of our former pastors, we interviewed him, and he said one of his favorite things was that the ones that was frying the chicken would fix him chicken necks. Do you remember that?
Yep, I remember the chicken necks, but we would get the big boxes of chicken, and of course you would wash and prep the chicken on Thursday for cooking, and we put chicken necks aside, especially to be cooked for fall.
Well, that's pretty good. Y'all thought a lot of your pastor, no doubt. Well, is there anything else that we haven't talked about Friendship that you would like to tell us about Friendship?
Well, Friendship has been so much a part of my life all these years, and there was a void there. The few months that we were just sort of laid back, not doing anything. And right now it's difficult that I can't be there when I want to be there and things I want to do. But at 95 years old and at a couple of weeks away from 96, there's just things you can't do.
Yeah.
And it's hard to accept that. The worst thing was having to give up driving. I can't go when I want to go. I don't have any patience. And Ron was going to do this so much, and he still does. But we didn't expect his wife to come home with cancer and chemo and radiation and everything. That, of course, she's able to go back and work some now, but she's still got more surgeries and things. But when this came up with his wife, then his position was to do all he can for her.
Yeah.
And they've had to be out of church because her immune system is so low, and it's confined them to home, and it's made a big difference in her life. But now another big difference that's coming up in 2 or 3 weeks is their first grandchild, and my first great-grandchild is due around October 1st.
Yeah.
So, but we're looking forward to Becky being cancer-free one of these days and having that great grandbaby in the family.
Well, we're definitely gonna be praying for her. Well, Miss Catherine, that's all I have today, and I certainly do appreciate you letting us visit with you and talk a little bit about friendship. I know folks are going to enjoy hearing this and seeing this, and so we're gonna say goodbye now.
Well, there's one thing I'd like
Yes,
to
ma'am.
mention. I talk a lot. Everybody knows that. But one thing, when friendship split up, some went, some stayed. We did not think ahead what the Lord had for friendship and Trinity,
Mm-hmm.
because that put another church in the community. The Lord has good out of bad sometime, and Trinity was one of the good that came out of friendship.
And we fellowship with Trinity a lot. We've done a lot of Easter sunrise services over at Trinity with them, and we've had some other activities with them. We love the folks over at Trinity, don't we?
Well,
Yeah,
Trinity and friendship are in the same business. We're in the Lord's business.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, Miss Catherine, thank you so much.
Thank you. I never liked to have my picture made, but I felt like I had to do this for the church.
Thank you.
Thank you.